The 4-0 Kentucky Wildcats are off to their best start since the 2016-17 season, and the newly entered top 10 AP poll Cats are here inside Rupp Arena taking on the Jackson State Tigers in the Unity Series. Welcome courtside, everybody, alongside two-time national champion Cameron Mills. I'm Andrew Kappas, and Cameron, this has been a balanced Kentucky offense. 4 games in, 4 different leading scorers, and on Tuesday night against Lipscomb, it was Jackson Robinson's turn.
Yeah, Jackson Robinson, who had 2 fantastic exhibition games. Kind of slow start in the first 3 games, and people started, as they do, started wondering, and then all of a sudden, Dookie has a great defensive game, and absolutely the team gave him full credit, but then against Lipscomb, finally caught fire. Even people saying, should we, kind of ISO get him going? No, in this offense, it just happens, and he knows that. And I think more importantly, he never hung his head, and his body language, I think, is one of the big keys that holds this Kentucky team together.
It was interesting comments from Coach Pope today at shoot-around. I asked him, Jackson told us in the post-game interview, I didn't like my body language at the Duke game. And we asked Coach Pope, was that the coaching staff that told him that, or was that himself recognizing it? And Coach Pope said, no, that was all Jackson recognizing that he didn't like what he saw from his body language, as Jackson State will win the tip. Going from left to right on your screen, and we are underway. Cats in white, Jackson State in the dark blue jerseys with red accent. Oweh crashing on that lower block as you've seen him do, and he's gotten 3 or 4 steals in the last couple games from that very move, Cameron.
Now this is where you got Jackson State going to force a bad shot with the clock ticking down.
Got it off in time and hit, well, they say he didn't hit the rim, so it's a shot clock violation. You love to see that if you're Coach Pope, to get a shot clock violation on the very first possession.
You definitely love seeing it, but that's part of the scouting report. They know Jackson State will work that clock and then sometimes inadvertently have to wind up taking bad shots. The focus for Kentucky is get the rebound. Bad shots will rebound long. 3-pointers will rebound long. Go get the offensive rebound or the defensive rebound.
The story coming into the year is Jackson Robinson, backdoor cut, can't finish, was that Kentucky might tinker with this starting lineup throughout the year, trying to find the right one. Well, here we are, game number 5, and it's the same starting lineup that Coach Pope has had all year, as Robinson spots up from 3. Good.
Well, you're 4-0. Why would you tinker?
Jackson picking up right where he left off from Tuesday night against Lipscomb, and this is a Jackson State team, as we chatted with Mo Williams at shoot-around today, a little bit depleted, and they answer with a quick 3 from Dorian McMillan, who they love and think he has a bright future, not just here at Jackson State, but beyond as well, as potentially a pro. Just a freshman. Oweh, little step back. He's got some space, a long 2, but it's blocked. Great play out there out front by Mitchell. Mitchell going right at Carr, unable to finish through contact. The miss, though, gathered by Grant. Good start for Jackson State here in the opening 2 minutes or so. Down low to Shannon Grant, listed at 6'11", 290, and he fights through, can't finish, but gets the foul, and he'll go to the line for 2. There you see Coach Mo Williams, a long NBA career, one of 19 NBA players, or rather coaches, I should say, in Division I with NBA experience. In his 3rd season with Jackson State, they have improved in his first 2. It's simply amazing what he's done. This is their 39th consecutive non-conference road game.
It's absolutely incredible. And then you look at the record so far this year, but you have to remember this Jackson State team lost 98% of their offensive output from last year. So a whole bunch of new guys having to get some production in it.
Chatting with Coach Williams today, he was speaking about how these games, and they've had a gauntlet of a schedule, they will play 3 top 10 AP teams in just a 2-week span. Houston, Kentucky, and Iowa State all on the road. He said, we're building for SWAC play, which begins in late December for Jackson State.
I always love it when coaches intentionally schedule hard schedules, because you start learning more about your team quicker.
Robinson from 3. He's 2 for 2.
You just get the sense during that Lipscomb game, he found his touch. He's not going to relinquish it. Those are 2 great three-point shots from the corners.
He had 20 against Lipscomb. He's got 6 already before the first media timeout tonight. Spinning into the lane is Mansell. in trouble, gets bailed out by Watson Jr., has his pocket picked by Lamont Butler. Butler wants to get down that lane, fights into a double team, out to Oweh, ball fake, gets to the elbow, pull-up jumper, bounces in.
Of all the players on this Kentucky team that we could, all-star, Oweh's the most consistent. He's the one that kind of everything, whether it actually runs through or not, he's the one that makes this Kentucky team go offensively and defensively.
What's pretty remarkable is Oweh has a steal, and there he goes, cleared for takeoff. And another steal from Amari Williams as he goes into his bench, but he can't complete it. And boy, that's some good hustle from the Cats. They're on 2 straight defensive possessions. There you see head coach Mark Pope in his first season at the helm of his alma mater. A national champion in 1996 and a former teammate of yours, Cameron.
Former teammate, played with him for 2 years. Still, he talks over my head. He's an absolute genius. At walkthrough today, he's going over concepts, telling me what they're going to do, what they're going to do here, and I'm like, can I get a glossary? I need a dictionary for all your basketball terms that I thought we knew together. Apparently, we don't.
Well, in his post-game radio show on Tuesday night, he said the word neuroscience as another trip to the free throw line by Shannon Grant, as he'll head back to the charity stripe with Jackson State trailing by 5.
I believe he used the word lexicon recently in an interview. And again, not an odd word, but not one you hear in a basketball press conference.
Neuroscience is in his lexicon, I guess you could say. So.
Look, this is the guy that after practice, back in the 90s under Pitino, we would all want to crash watch a movie after a hard practice, everybody piling in each other's room. We'd find Mark in his room by himself reading Dante's Inferno for the 3rd time that week. I mean, that's the kind of guy we're dealing with here. Quits Columbia Medical School after 3 years, going into his last year, decides I can make a bigger difference coaching, so steps down, starts at Georgia as assistant coach, and has worked his way to Kentucky.
Well, the challenge that Coach Pope was most excited about tonight was he thinks this Jackson State team is a very good rebounding team, and he thinks that Kentucky has a way to go where he wants them to be as far as rebounding goes. So he was interested to see what that looks like tonight in this matchup. As Butler able to keep the ball, goes to the rack and finishes.
We saw that barrage a few minutes ago, Andrew, of 3 turnovers, or almost 3 turnovers, 2.5, let's say, as Amari got that deflection. But 3 in a row, deflections leading to turnovers, turnovers leading to easy baskets. That's how Kentucky gets some easy threes and just easy points in general.
McMillan running the point. Got a switch, and now he's got the 7-footer Amari Williams on him. They switch back. Step back long, 2 from Mansell, and he hits it on a fader. Cats want to restart the offense quickly, and that's a theme of this Mark Pope offense. Butler will spot up from the 3. Good.
Perfect. I mean, just right down the pipe of Lamont Butler's 3 that time. Comes around the high screen. Man goes under, defender goes under. Oh, I'm open, I'm shooting.
Yeah, I think he wanted to drive, but then when he saw he was wide open, said, thank you very much.
It's just a dangerous thing to go under any screen with this Kentucky team.
Off the glass and in, but he traveled before he got there to Shannon Grant. Will bring us to a timeout on the floor. 15-20 left, the Cats up by 8 and cruising here early.
Number 12 Duke, number 1 Kansas, Tuesday on ESPN.
Off to a hot start. They're up 15-7 on Jackson State, a team that has a lot of newcomers on this squad, about half the roster, but the scoring production they're having to replace is over 90%. Despite all that, Mo Williams has built a roster that's picked in the top half of the SWAC, could very well win the conference and go to the NCAA tournament. They're still waiting the return of Deshaun Ruffin, the first McDonald's All-American to play at Jackson State. He started at Ole Miss, but it's been a nice season so far, Cameron, for Jamie Mitchell Jr. Had a career-high 26 against Xavier, and he dropped 15 at Vandy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a great job. All these post-up shots. And this is what makes a team like Jackson State dangerous. You get one hot player that comes in, starts hit from outside. Just like we do to teams, we hit those threes. They got to stretch that defense. A shooter like this and a player like this can do the same thing to us.
Mitchell, the Jackson, Mississippi native, averaging 17 points a game. And really that number kind of lowered just because of one off night. Other than that, he's been phenomenal. We mentioned 26 against Xavier on November the 12th, and that's a good Sean Miller defense there in Cincinnati. It's Kobe Brea into the game for the first time, and also Brandon Garrison has checked in for Kentucky. They lead by 8.
Kobe Brea shooting 79% from the three-point line this season.
Yeah, that is not a misprint.
It's just absurd.
It's crazy. Andrew Carr down low. Carr in trouble. Out to Butler. 10 to shoot. Plenty of time for the Cats. Carr looking to get it to Brea. Now Robinson. He tries to go 3 for 3, and he does.
So just again, upperclassman move by Carr. He had Brea coming up. Why wouldn't you pass it to Brea? Well, you got Jackson Robinson sweeping right along, and he's 2 for 2. Let's give him a chance to go 3 for 3.
He's 3 for 3, Cameron, and you weren't exactly a shy shooter at times. At what point do you just see if you got it tonight and do a little heat check?
If you're Jackson Robinson, maybe around 6 or 7. If you're me, after you've hit 2.
McMillan out. Kentucky, a little bit of a trap there at the wing, and oh my goodness, what a finish there.
And those are the kind of shots that can beat Kentucky, right? And we know they're going to...
There's an offensive foul on Butler as he extended the left arm.
So we know these kind of shots are what can beat Kentucky, but I love this right here. Could have passed it to Brea, but wait a minute. Let's find the hot hand, says Andrew Carr, and gets his teammate another open 3.
Well, you can see why, too, that Mo Williams is so high on McMillan. Just a freshman. And he has been composed in these big stage games like this one inside Rupp Arena.
Absolutely. Not only that, but a little bit of trivia I was told before the game. But Dorian McMillan, a relative of Dale Brown,
yes,
who once played here at Kentucky. Not the LSU Dale Brown, but the Kentucky Dale Brown.
Oh, what an alley-oop. Finished off on the other end by Mansell, his second bucket. Jackson State cuts it to 7. We had a look at that in shoot-around. They wanted to make that a point of emphasis today. As Kriisa into the game for the first time, as well as Ansley Almonor. So the only starter out there right now is the hot-handed Jackson Robinson.
Jackson State doing a great job of not giving us any open looks, any stretch.
Robinson looking for 4, a little bit long, no good.
And look, that's the shot that if you're Coach Pope, maybe accept, you certainly do if it goes in, but wasn't really in the flow of offense. It was Jackson kind of like you mentioned earlier, feeling hot, so he was going to take it.
Shades of Tayshaun, he fell a couple short against North Carolina there some 23 years ago or so. Is great D by Kriisa down low, partial block that's completed by Garrison, denying Reyna. Kriisa using the screen and a little bit of a pile up and headed the other way. Brea in the lane, contact with Cannaville. It's gonna be a foul. Nice alley-oop finish on a great feed by who else but Dorian McMillan.
And I guarantee an issue that Coach Pope's going to mention in the next time out, because those backdoor screens, I mean, that's easy stuff. You just communicate, talk, and somebody better be there. Kobe Brea doing a great job of getting back on defense to not give Jackson State anything easy, and even doing what you're always told to. Foul him, right? Don't give him, I mean, go after the ball. The problem is he went after the ball, and I don't know if he fouled him.
Cannaville misses the first free throw.
And as they say, the ball doesn't lie.
Well, it has raised the stakes here as the second free throw on the way. Cannaville from Plantation, Florida, Southeast Louisiana transfer. Coach Pope called him their best offensive rebounder, despite only standing at 6 feet 5 inches tall. Makes 1 out of 2.
And again, just the importance of, it doesn't matter how big you are, it's a matter how much you want the ball as far as rebounding, one way or the other.
There we see Jackson State pick Kentucky up 3/4 court. Coach Pope said we have to be ready for them to throw a bunch of different defenses at us.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of looks we're going to see tonight. We got to be ready every single time and be able to and be patient to see what they're in and what we need to do about it.
Robinson cut off. We'll kick it out to Almonor. 2 to shoot. Kentucky not going to get a shot off. Great D by Reyna, who is fighting on the floor right now, but it's won back by Garrison. Reyna didn't get any help as Almonor found open in the corner and knocks it down.
Not only was that Kriisa made, it was certainly Brandon Garrison and his hustle not giving up on that play, but it swings to Kriisa. Kriisa goes with the pop rule, which is you got 0.5 seconds to get that ball moving, and he found Almonor down deep in the lane, or deep in the corner.
Kriisa leads Kentucky at just shy of 5 assists per game despite not being a starter. Mansell, he's been shooting it well, has that one go a little bit long. Brea the rebound.
Those are the kind of threes I think Kentucky is willing to give up. Brea
down the lane, little floater is good. Timeout, Jackson State, as Kobe Brea, normally a sharpshooter, able to finish this one inside the paint. He pushes that Kentucky lead to double digits here inside Rupp Arena.
Please welcome to the floor.
Kenny Skywalker getting announced and honored at half court here during the media timeout as Kentucky has a 23-12 lead over Jackson State in the Unity Series. And I believe Mr. Skywalker is making his way over to our broadcast position here.
We got to get his people with our people with his people and his people over here. So he's on his way.
I think they've convened, and I'm pretty excited about chatting with the two-time SEC Player of the Year, a slam dunk champion. If he doesn't forget us.
I think he forgot us.
We'll get him later.
I've sent 18 people down there to remind him.
That's you know everybody in this building, so
I
just know you.
I'm a friend of the world.
I just know you. Andrew Kappas alongside Cameron Mills here tonight. 23-12, Kentucky in front. Cameron, I think Kentucky's shooting the ball well, but credit to Jackson State. They have gotten some good looks on offense.
I think this is exactly what Mark Pope would want out of this Jackson State team as far as, look, they are playing great defense regardless of what they're in. Man-to-man, I mean, they are shooting gaps. They're not letting us initiate our offense at all. They are making things tough on us, and that's what we need right now.
Well, we are pleased to be joined by a legend here in the building as a three goes a little bit long from Arena, cleaned up by Colin Chandler. It is Kenny Skywalker. Welcome back home as the three banged in from Colin Chandler. But welcome back home.
Well, glad to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me on camera. I'm glad to be back in the great building that's Rupp Arena.
Glad to be back. You live here in town. You've been here forever.
but I'm just saying, to be back out on that floor again, it's awesome.
Brea with the steal comes up with it. What do you think about this year's version of the Cats?
I love the way that we play. I love the way that we share the ball offensively. We got good guys at every position. Obviously, we shoot the three very well. But I like the experience and the leadership that we have with this team.
Nifty steal and denial by Brandon Garrison. He tried to go for a second one, but that one finished off the glass and in.
Still a great job by Garrison, not only to block it, but keep it in play as well.
Cannaville is without a shoe, and Garrison able to finish and take advantage. Cannaville was sprinting up the floor and only had one shoe on.
What's the whistle
as
bump
Garrison got this thing started with the block in transition. And on the other end was able to finish one-hand jam through the paint.
I really like Garrison off the bench. He's long. He can run the floor. I know Coach Pope been wanting to see him stop taking those long twos and maybe try to knock down a three. But I love his energy and attitude coming off the bench.
Well, what was the furthest what was your range? What was the furthest you were allowed? And then what was the furthest you could get outside and shoot the ball?
Now you're going to make me age myself. But while I was in college, there wasn't a three-point line in college. But I went to
this
about
feels like a setup by Cam, by the way.
15 to 18 feet. Until I got to the New York Knicks, and I played for Coach Pitino before he came here, and I knocked down a couple of threes, NBA range threes. So that's my range.
Three-pointer no good with Garrison, another rebound, and high impact off the bench already, like you said, Kenny. Kriisa wants to step into a three, and it brims out.
It looked good all the way to the moment he released it.
Well, you were in the dunk contest really before it was even cool, and you know, highlight tapes. Kind of, you got your generation made it cool. And do you ever kind of look back at those highlights? I mean, if I was in a dunk contest, I'd be watching that like 3 times a day.
I got it on a loop. I mean, YouTube, you know, watch it every night before I go to bed. But no, that was a good era. In my opinion, that's when the best dunkers got in the dunk contest. Now is kind of taking a different turn.
Let me tell you how much Kenny loves the dunk contest. You go into his house, you visit Kenny Walker. He has got a what would you call it? A photograph montage of that last dunk that put you over the top to get you that NBA dunk contest.
I like waking up to that every morning.
I think that's what makes your title so special, though, is another three from Almonor, in and out, no good, is that you were competing against the best in that event.
Well, the Michael Jordans, the Dr. J's, Larry Nance, Clyde Drexler, Spud Webbs, your best dunker, Dominique, we all wanted to compete and have fun. Nobody cared who won. Obviously, you're competitive and you wanted to win, but it was just fun competing against those guys.
I think I've asked you this before, Kenny, but in that moment, like, you got dunks planned, or are you just coming up with them off the top of your head in the moment?
No, I did plan a few of those dunks, but once you get out there and your adrenaline gets going, you got to go off strip sometimes. My first dunk was not impressive, so I knew in my second and third dunk I had to pull out dunks that I was going to do later on, but that got my momentum and got me going a little bit, and I was able to get better each and every round.
Well, we just got done watching your highlight tape, a shortened version of what I presume is your highlight tape, and I didn't see any jump shots. It was nothing but dunks in that.
Well, that's why they call me Skywalker. You got to live up to that name. You know, I didn't shoot those bombs like you did.
That's because I couldn't dunk.
Yeah, I tried to get them up out of this seat. I figure if they're going to pay good money and come to see me play, and you try to put on a good show every night, and I knew I could, you know, walk in the air, and I just tried to put on a great show.
I always say this when I get a chance. I always say it to Kenny's face, and I want everyone to know this. As a former player, we've still got fans coming up asking for pictures, autographs. Kenny and I have lived in the same area of Lexington since I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And of all the former players of Kentucky basketball, the man sitting next to us, Andrew, he handles fans better than anybody. I mean, and it is just a joy to watch. Every time I watch Kenny interact with fans, it is a constant reminder of that's what I have to be like. And I don't think there's a former player that wouldn't say the same thing, because Kenny just loves interacting with the fans, and they love interacting with him.
You're a great ambassador for the program, buddy. I don't have to tell you that. You know that we have a brotherhood, and when you say things like that, that really means a lot to me, because we all go through the same thing. Thank God for good parents, good coaches. Joe B. Hall had a great influence on the way that I dealt with people. All of the things that Coach Hall went through, you know, following Coach Rupp, he was always the nice, most pleasant man, and I always try to emulate the way that he interacted with fans.
I got one more question I want to ask you, Kenny, before we let you go. And I asked you this earlier on radio as play continues here. But if you haven't had the opportunity yet, I'm sure you will. Mark Pope is going to want you to have a word with his team. What would that word be? What would you want to share with these 13, 14 young men?
It's just like I told you on the air, Cam. You know, I came close to winning a championship. I'm the second all-time leading scorer in the history of UK basketball. And I wanted that championship so bad, and it still disappointed me that I didn't win it. But the way that the fans interact and treat me, it's almost like I won a championship. The ovations that I get when I come to Rupp Arena, and just meeting people in everyday life, the love that they show to me is just unbelievable, and I just try to give back as much as I can.
Do you ever look up? I know you're a pretty frequent visitor here at Rupp Arena, but it's got to be pretty cool to be right next to Sam and Kyle Macy there with the jersey up there. That would be, I'd get a tickle out of that every time I came in the building.
You know, I still can't believe it. You know, Ralph Hacker, the guy that used to call the games on the radio for the Cats back when I played, he always used to say number 34 on the court, but number 1 in your heart.
That's right.
And I always got a kick out of it when he said that. And when I walk in here now and I see that number 34, you know, hanging from the rafters, it makes me proud, but it makes my family and my teammates proud, because they know how hard we work to try to win championships. And even though we came up a little bit short, I think we gave the fans a lot of fun and a lot of pleasure.
35-16, Kentucky starting to pull away a little bit here in the Unity Series against Jackson State. Approaching the under 8 timeout. Kentucky in control as there's another block. This time it's Amari Williams. The Cats have a 3-on-2 if they hurry. Carr shifting down low. Williams taken off.
Great job by the big man to run the court, and great job by one big man to feed the other big man for running down the court.
And pass, he didn't run over the defensive player. Great pass by Carr.
Pushes the lead out to 21. Otega wanted to go the other way there. There's a little floater finish by McMillan. Tell you what, he is opening some eyes tonight here inside this building, the freshman.
And Kentucky right now struggling not only with McMillan, but just with those high screen and rolls.
Backdoor to Oweh, finishes off the glass.
Seems to be having their way on offense, but on defense,
it's struggling.
Jackson State's getting the shots they want.
Coach
McMillan, the freshman, 7 points on 3 of 3 shooting. As Oweh comes up with a steal. Oweh all by himself.
Again.
It's like he knows you're sitting over here.
Yeah,
3 in transition.
They're having their own slam dunk contest right now.
Bounces over and out, and that'll bring us to a stoppage in play. Kenny, it was an honor talking to you here courtside. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
That's Kenny Skywalker. Kentucky up 41-18 here in Lexington. Kentucky with a 23-point lead over Jackson State, trying to get to 5-0, but they're doing it as one of 7 programs in all of Division I basketball to have 0 offensive or defensive production coming back. But it's an experienced bunch for head coach Mark Pope. 586 career starts. You combine, this is the craziest stat for me, Cameron, you combine John Calipari's first 6 teams, 2009 through 15, this one has more starts than those 6 teams combined.
And all those starts, well, up until recently for other teams. And that's been the amazing thing that Coach Pope and his staff have done. You got guys from all over the country, all of them wanting to be the star on their team, and all of them wanting to come to Kentucky and be the star. And he has very, very quickly gotten everybody on the same page, wanting them playing together. And as we've seen, with the way they move the ball, completely unselfishly.
6 different players averaging double figures, 4 games, 4 different leading scorers as Butler blocked down low by Shannon Grant. Grant, a lengthy layoff on the bench, but back in there. He's been a physical presence down low as there's that backdoor cut that Jackson State wants to utilize.
And to be fair, Carr was there.
As the ball goes in on a beautiful finish from Mansell. And he's got 6 points and will head to the line for 1 more.
It's one of those things that Coach Pope talks about is the train tracks. And that is like when those back doors happen, you are getting in front of the only place he's going to go. Andrew did a great job of denying that. The ball got to him anyway, and it just pump fake up and under.
Mansell, the Long Beach State transfer, for 1 free throw, no good, but he's still got 6 points. Maury Williams in transition. Cats have done well both in and out of the arc as Carr out to Oweh. Oweh splits 2 defenders with the left hand, finishes.
I mean, that's just strength and body-to-body one-on-one. Did a great job just getting that man off the lane just a little bit to the right, slipped left, got body-to-body, put him behind him, and had the easy layup. No one for Jackson State down to that paint to help defense.
Well, to tell you how balanced this team is, Cameron, for Kentucky, you look at Andrew Carr, 17 points against Duke in the biggest win of the year so far, and he has not had very big offensive nights since then. In fact, he hasn't taken a single shot here tonight. Didn't take very many Tuesday against Lipscomb as that one finished by Grant.
Grant's got great touch around the rim.
He does, especially for his size.
I mean, Amari is a shot blocker, but Grant is throwing those little baby hooks up, and Amari's stretching out to try to get him and not being able to.
Butler's 3 no good. Mansell the rebound, and in transition, shot fired up by Juan Reyna III, and eventually ran down by Andrew Carr. Carr thought about that transition 3. Oweh will take it and hit it.
Again, it's back to that idea of you got 0.5 seconds to make a decision if you're Kentucky, and that's what they're doing.
Oh, what a save by Otega Oweh on the steal to Butler. Left-handed finish. Coming the other way, Watson will finish with his right hand as the pace has really picked up the last couple of possessions. As Butler fouled, trying to split 2 defenders and kick it out to a wide-open Andrew Carr. What a save by Oweh here.
And then come back and just be involved as well. Love the way Lamont just got those hops, goes up hard, goes up strong.
I think he wanted to try for a dunk.
Oh, I don't think has anything to do with it. He wanted the dunk. But as I know in my career, Andrew, sometimes you just don't get the opportunity. You got the hops, you got the talent, and sometimes it just doesn't happen.
I don't have any of those things, but even I've wanted to dunk on a breakaway. It's just not going to happen. The ball thrown in, Brea wide open, bounces out. No good, a rare miss for the man shooting 79% from 3 coming into tonight.
I tweeted this morning after a exhaustive research session.
Oh, boy.
But Kobe Brea is shooting better from three than 93% of NCAA Division I players are shooting from the foul line.
Wow. It has been like a layup. Good finish around a screen by McMillan. He's got 9 points in the first half. In transition, Robinson for three. Back iron, no good, and Reyna the rebound.
Look, Kentucky wants those quick transition threes if they're open. At the same time, you got to be thinking about, do we have the rebounders ready to go to collect the misses?
McMillan blocked by Brea. 2-on-1 for Kentucky. Butler trying to get it to Carr, and a good kick by Mansell to break that up. Kentucky up 22 here so far tonight, behind 9 points from Jackson Robinson.
Tonight's game sponsor is the Kentucky Department of Tourism.
Welcome back to Rupp Arena. Cameron Mills along with Andrew Kappas. Cats up 48-26 as we look at Oweh. And look, Andrew, what part of his offensive game is he lacking? I mean, he's doing everything in this highlight reel.
Well, the one thing he hasn't done tonight is attempt a free throw. That's been it, because he's 1 out of 2 from three, 6 of 7 overall, and he's leading the Cats with 13 points. But he's also got 2 steals, 1 spectacular save as well, so he's done a little bit of everything. And 1 of 6 double-figure scores for Kentucky after Jackson's 20-point explosion on Tuesday night against Lipscomb. And this is a typical game so far for Otega Oweh. He's a guy that it kind of starts all on the defensive end for him, doesn't it?
You mentioned Andrew Carr, somewhat inconsistent, had a great game at Duke. You know, had some games where he's not gotten many shots up. Same thing with Jackson Robinson. We made mention of that at the opening. Oweh, I can't think of a game that he's not produced one way or the other. I mean, there might be one slipped in there somewhere, but he is kind of he's the one that stirs the drink for the Wildcats here as far as consistency. Defense, offense, steals. You can't keep him out of the lane. He's the one that gets it done.
He's had 21 in the opener to lead the Cats against Wright State. 10 points, 15, 14, and now 13 here tonight.
It's pretty consistent.
Referees are discussing something away from the ball. Andrew Carr showing his elbow. Now they're looking at something underneath the basket, or on the other side of the basket, I should say. Oh, okay. Looks like a piece of cable is hanging down. And Brandon Garrison's trying to use the vertical to get that fixed, and he said, I can't fix this.
I don't know what the problem is.
We need a ladder.
So Andrew Carr is going to fix it. Let's get everybody in line. Everybody gets a turn.
Here, if I get on your shoulders, I think we could solve this.
There's a cable. There's a cable like lowering down. I don't know if you on my shoulders we could make it.
I think. Oh boy. And the crowd the crowd is groaning because they brought out a stool that seems very structurally
not happy with the OSHA requirements going on here. That's not a good idea.
That seems very unsound.
We need to get. I don't know that this is going to help either.
This is a
Do
little
we not
better.
have ladders? Are there no ladders here at Rupp Arena?
Maybe a long ways away. It seems like me on your shoulders might be the best chance.
I'm starting to believe that.
If we could get Seth out of the control room to run the broadcast while we're here. There we go. Biggest cheer of the night.
Brandon gets it fixed, and 2 of the officials start applauding.
Biggest cheer of the night. Andrew Carr, though, says no, job not finished.
Andrew's not happy with it.
Job not finished.
A lot of people don't know this, Andrew. Andrew Carr is a perfectionist. He wasn't pleased with the way Brandon finished the job there.
He takes care of the rest, and a good team effort there. Everything's a competition with this team. We'll get more into that later. As on the inbounds play, Robinson in and out, no good, and Garrison tried to put that one right back in, but it goes off his right hand out of bounds.
Smart play by Jackson State that time, putting someone directly in front of Jackson, as even though Jackson ran him over, but because he ran him over, his defender's on the floor. He was wide open in the corner of that 3 up that underneath out of bounds play. Just couldn't get it to roll in.
Kentucky's shooting 63% from the floor, including just shy of 50 from 3 as Andrew Carr breaks that up. Cats are 8 of 17 from deep. Carr finds Robinson in transition, 3, in and out. Robinson's gone a little cold since he hit those first 3.
And I think this is where this is where Robinson needs to watch his body language and not get frustrated, because again, this team, they function off how his body language is and where his attitude is, and it's usually spot on perfect. But just missing a couple means nothing. He's got it. He's got to keep going up with those 3-point shots.
Butler from behind, able to smack the ball out of the hands of Shannon Grant. Open down low, Andrew Carr with the dunk.
Great pass by Brandon Garrison. Jackson Robinson went to Brandon. Brandon Garrison saw Andrew Carr wide open. Jackson had just missed him, but Brandon made sure he paid it off.
You know, the thing you hear about Kentucky's bigs is the freedom that Mark Pope gives them in this offense. You know, it's not a go down to the low post and park. It is very free to move for the bigs.
Well, you know, again, Brandon can shoot three-point shots. We've seen him make one. He can't just shoot them. He can make threes. Both of them are fantastic big passers. Both of them can find those seams and hit cutting teammates to make some great passes.
Brea on the floor with Carr, Robinson, Butler, and Garrison. They go backdoor looking for Brea. He tried to skip it out to Robinson, but it took a deflection and got stolen by Watson. Out to Reyna, ball fake three. Gets in the paint and denied by Garrison. His second block already. Mansell bringing Garrison out of the paint. Now Reyna, a long three, left it short. Jackson State just 1 of 9 from deep. Fake handoff for Brea. Garrison's gonna spot up from 3. No good.
Still a good shot by Garrison. Found himself wide open because his defender had to help out as Lamont Butler streaked down to the low post.
Good D by Butler to get Watson in the air. It's 5-3 break for Kentucky, and Andrew Carr at the rim finishes. And Shannon Grant on the other end still hadn't made it back on the other play, so he just stays up top there and gets the benefit of the fast break points.
A little bit of snowbirding there. Still got 2.
It's okay. Robinson, floater, bounces out.
It's not against the rules.
No.
Coaches don't always like it, but it's not against the rules.
Grant now with 3 rebounds to go along with 8 points. To be fair, though, for Grant, this is his longest run on the floor so far tonight. Fatigue, especially with the amount of games that they've played in the last 15 days, could be an issue as McMillan continues to go off. He's now in double figures with 11. And now we see why Mo Williams was so high on him in shoot-around today. Freshman with 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting.
And that's a big-time play. Make that penetration down on that block, that short corner. You never really want to go baseline, but if you're going to, you've got to have that fadeaway. McMillan definitely has that fadeaway in his game.
Mo Williams kind of sold McMillan on Jackson State, saying, you know, why go to UAB, why go to Tulane where you might sit to begin with? Let me coach you, let me mold you. And he's a pretty good mentor. Yeah. He knows a thing or two about being a guard at a high level, having such a long NBA career.
It certainly looks like it's worked out so far for both of them.
Yeah, McMillan in double figures, first Tiger in double figures as Garrison goes to work in the paint.
Again, that little baby hook shot. That's such a hard shot to hit. It requires so much touch, especially right around the center of the paint.
Garrison, the former Oklahoma State Cowboy, a McDonald's All-American just a couple years ago. Jackson State can't hold for the last shot, so shot put up and another block by Garrison. That's 3 here in the first half. 5 seconds to shoot for the Cats. Garrison will fire it up and leave it short, no good, but a great half of basketball for Kentucky as they put up 54 points on the board. 2 different players in double figures, but it's been a balanced scoring effort so far as the Cats shoot 60% from the floor in half number 1, including 8 triples, and they lead by 24. Halftime inside Rupp Arena, Kentucky in control over Jackson State, 54-30. As we welcome you back courtside alongside Cameron Mills, I'm Andrew Kappas. And Cameron, you look at these 2 teams, I think the offenses are working pretty well for both, but Kentucky answering that rebounding challenge that Mark Pope put out earlier today, and then also shooting the ball really, really well.
Yeah, I think it's the value of the three-point shot as well for Kentucky specifically. I mean, 8 of 20. Getting 24 points off their threes. Because if you just watch the game go back and forth, it doesn't seem like Kentucky would be up 24 points at this point. But it's just they get so many threes off and they make them.
For Jackson State, we heard all during shoot-around, Jalen McMillan, how talented he was. His head coach, Mo Williams, called him one of the best freshmen in the country, and we saw why in the first half. He was the first Jackson State Tiger into double figures. He has 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting, 1 of 1 from downtown. Oh, by the way, he's got 3 assists as well, and he played 17 minutes in that first half, and he is uber talented.
And as a freshman too. And then Oweh for Kentucky. It has been all over the court. One of the most consistent, if not the most consistent Kentucky player all season, and he's getting it done in every aspect of the game. 3-point driving, backcourt cuts, steals, transition buckets. He's just doing it all for Kentucky, and he's done it this way every single game. Most consistent player Kentucky has had.
Including tonight, he has scored in double figures in all 5 of Kentucky's games as they try to extend their best start since 2016-17. That was a year that the Cats made the Elite 8, and they were a Drake May, or I should say Drake May, that's his brother, a May brother, if you will, shot from going to the Final Four. That was a fun team. De'Aaron Fox, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero. Look at the stats from the first half. Kentucky shot 40% from 3. Jackson State, 1 of 9 from downtown. That's a huge differential to be -7 in that category, Cam.
Well, not only that, but you look at the turnovers that Kentucky wants to turn over Jackson State. 10 of those turnovers, and then UK only 5 turnovers, and they're trying to keep their turnovers limited to under 10. Jackson State already there.
Starting the half for Kentucky is their starters, leading by 24. Could see some extended run, though, for that second unit here in the second half. We'll see as Otega Oweh blocked on the first play of the second half. Jamie Mitchell, who hasn't been heavily involved, but now Oweh gets it right back. 2-on-1, out in front to Williams. The give and go to Robinson and a slam.
Again, that whole play made by Oweh, not giving up. Got his shot blocked down here, hustled back, got the back tip, was able to be part of that transition and the slam by Jackson Robinson.
Kentucky almost was so unselfish on that they had one too many passes on it.
It's happened multiple times this year where you watch them just zip the ball around the perimeter, down in the lane. It moves, and you think, I feel like you all have passed up about 8 open shots here to get this 9th.
3-pointer on the way for Mansell. He had a good first half, and he has started his second half off well as well. He's got 9.
That's an interesting matchup between Mansell and Carr. Both of them about the same size. Both of them have range.
Butler feeding it down low to Williams, but he kicks it out. Open for 3 as Oweh left it short. Cleaned up by Shannon Grant. Kentucky back on D with Watson trying to take advantage. Mansell, versatile player for Jackson State. Here he is off the dribble working on Amari Williams, but McMillan gets the miss. McMillan, little floater, in and out, no good. Butler comes away with it, 2-on-1 if he wants to hurry. Butler down the lane, a dunk, thunderous through the lane.
He had that look in his eye right around the 3-point line. Thought he was going to go up and dunk it, and wound up executing perfectly. Great little slam.
And a business decision by the man under the basket on the other end of it. Butler.
Great pass, and again, another pass by Amari. You know, the privilege it is to have just good big passers.
A no-look scoop pass, kind of, from Amari Williams.
I don't think Amari has thrown a pass all year that's not been a no-look.
From a 7-footer. And then Butler, yeah, that was a business decision, wisely done, to get out of the way as Butler was coming through like a bowling ball. Out to Oweh. Cats in front by 25. Here's Robinson for 3. Can't get the roll.
Robinson just needs to stay patient, stay in that offense. When that ball rotates, he's going to be open for 3s.
Watson got his man in the air and finishes.
Jackson State, they're playing smart basketball. They don't have the height advantage, don't have the athleticism, but they are playing good fundamental ball.
Oweh open in the corner. In and out. Andrew Carr fighting for the rebound. He puts it back in.
Fighting is the right word. He stayed with that ball 2 or 3 tips. Was in the right place at the right time and made Jackson State pay for not crashing the boards harder.
Andrew Carr now with 6 points, and he's got 5 rebounds as well.
There's again another emphasis by Mark Pope.
Using that size to back up Williams is Grant, but Williams held firm. Ball out of bounds, last touch by Amari Williams.
And Grant was playing lineman on him.
There's the rebound from Andrew Carr, and Mansell was there, just Carr kind of took it away from him and went right back up with it. They're matched up again on this end. Mansell, a little step back long, 2 is wide left. Butler, he wants another one. Down the lane, off the glass, and that's going to be a goaltend on Mansell.
Definitely looked like that hit the backboard before Mansell got his hand on it. He's gonna disagree with the officials. But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you disagree with the officials if you got the chance?
I tell you what, though, Mansell, he's got a. Oh,
that was off the backboard. Looked like he may have touched it before.
Yeah,
hit the backboard, but definitely got it after.
Yeah, he cleaned it up after it hit the glasses. Robinson gets the steal. 3-on-2 for the Cats. Robinson out to Carr, open for 3. Front of the rim, no good, and Grant the rebound. McMillan trying to get going here in the second half. Extra pass finds Mitchell. Partially blocked, I think, by Butler.
It looked like Butler did get a piece of that.
So Butler, what else is new? Heavily involved on the defensive end in various ways. Williams, skip pass to Butler. Extra one finds Oweh. Ball fake, gets in the lane. Oweh, get out of his way.
I was expecting a nice little finger roll. Oweh says he's going harder than that. Two-handed flush from the center.
Cats having fun. They're up 29, 64-35. Mansell working on Carr again. There's a kick ball, which will bring us to the under-16 timeout. Kentucky in control, and they're finishing at the rim here tonight. 64-35 behind 15 from Oweh here in Rupp.
Blue Nation, please welcome your UK dance team.
Of 39 consecutive non-conference games on the road. But they got a good man at the helm. He's currently sitting down right now, but I promise you Mo Williams is in that huddle. We'd never lie to you. Mo Williams, the former Cleveland Cavalier and longtime NBA player, along with Mark Pope. He's one of 19 former NBA players that are coaching at the NCAA Division I level, but you got to lower that list down to just 4 of guys that have won a championship in the NBA that are now coaching in college, and he commands the respect. You can tell, Cameron, just from the way they practice and the way at the shoot-around, the way that they look at Mo Williams and listen to him, that resume resonates with those guys. And I think he's got Jackson State pointed in a very positive direction.
I mean, look, what can you say to him if you're a player and you're not happy with the way he's coaching you, right? I mean, he played SEC basketball, he played D1 basketball, he played NBA basketball, he won a world championship. What are you going to say? What are you going to tell him? What are you going to disagree with him on? He's been everywhere that you want to go. Pay attention and follow.
He was really gracious with his time with us after shoot-around. As you can see, the improvement there from Mo Williams on those slow starts, which are kind of predicated by the schedule they have to play, and that's these top 10 road games that they find themselves in every November and December as McMillan gets to the rim but can't finish. Oweh the rebound.
Well, just think about how important those road games, this road game is. I mean, they are in a hostile environment. They're playing a great Kentucky team.
What a find by Garrison as Oweh, another dunk.
Jackson State is getting something out of this. The score 66-35, maybe quote-unquote out of hand. Jackson State is still having the possibility and the opportunity to learn here and to get something out of this game.
Yeah, Coach Williams had mentioned, he's a realist. He's going to coach this game like he wants to win, but he's also going to find wins within the game that are realistic as Watson gets to the rack. A left-handed layup is good around contact with Garrison, and he is slow to get up on the other end. Kentucky playing 5-on-4. Robinson in the corner for 3. Yes.
And that's why Jackson needs to continue to shoot those shots. Even if he misses 3, 4 in a row, just stay faithful to your shot. He's too good of a shooter for it not to start falling again. And I love those threes in transition as well.
Down low to Grant. Grant has been getting himself some space down low, but that one unable to finish.
Still having to make that shot over the outstretched arms of Brandon Garrison, which whether it's Brandon or Amari, it's always going to be tough.
Garrison swings it out. Robinson wanted to give it to Almonor, but the defender didn't follow, so he'll fire up a 3, and it bounces out over the top of the scoreboard, or the backboard, and out of bounds. But look at this pass from Garrison. A wicked bounce pass to find Oweh streaking to the basket.
And it's not just a pass by Garrison, it's moving without the ball by Oweh. And again, the key for Kentucky's basketball team offensively is that just not only the way they move it, but the way they're moving their bodies. They are getting themselves into open position so those quick passes can count and do something.
The lead has swelled to 32 for the Cats, who are shooting 58% from the floor. Jackson State just 35%. Reyna. UTSA transfer, also played as some basketball at Campbell, as that shot left short by Canaville. Kriisa getting some extended run at the point. Garrison. They shut off the handoff at Almonor. That is something they worked on at shoot-around today, did Jackson State, to make sure those handoffs, at the very least, aren't easy for Kentucky, as Kriisa's three is long.
Jackson State still struggling from the three-point line. 2 of 12 for 16%.
Cats have cooled off a little bit from that part, 9 of 27, but doing enough inside the arc as well, getting a lot of good looks at the rim as Reyna, bit of a wild shot. Missed everything, but cleaned up and then put back in by Tamarian Hoover.
Perfect example of one of the things Pope said about earlier today about this team is that they will take wild shots, and wild shots will lead to unexpected rebounding opportunities, both offensively and defensively, and that's precisely what happens. Not exactly a great shot taken, but no one expected it to happen.
Hoover was right there, though, and he kind of was breaking to the rim even before the shot went up, and that is something Coach Pope was really excited about. We talked about it in the first half, was he thinks this is one of the better rebounding teams that they'll face in the non-conference portion of the schedule, and he wanted to see how the Cats answer to that.
Well, right now, tied up 28-28, just overall rebounding statistics.
Amari Williams through some contact. Oh, got his own miss and put it right back in.
I was going to say, Kentucky with 28 rebounds, only 2 offensively. I believe that's up to 3 at this point after that slam by Amari Williams.
Well, if you look at the Cats' last 3 home games, here's a 3 from Hoover, and he got fouled. Shot is in and out, no good, but he'll shoot 3 at the line. But against Bucknell, the Cats did not have any dunks. Had a few against Lipscomb, and they're having a dunk party here tonight inside Rupp.
This is how you get easy offensive rebounds. And Kentucky needs them because, again, overall, they're out rebounding Jackson State. But offensively, which has been the key concern, Jackson State with 8 offensive rebounds. Kentucky now, because of that Amari Williams dunk, only up to 3.
Amari Williams averaging a double-double coming in. 10 points and just shy of 11 rebounds per game. He's at 4 points, 5 boards tonight, but he's also got 3 assists and a steal in 14 minutes. 2 out of 2 so far for Hoover. He's got 4 points.
Even another key stat for Amari, 0 turnovers right now. He's had a couple games where, again, because he's such a great passer, he tries to thread the needle a little too often, and that can lead to some turnovers. But tonight, keeping everything in check.
Good-looking free throw shot from Hoover, 3 out of 3, and I'm not sure any of those hit the rim.
Jackson State now picking up in looks like a 2-2-1 full-court press.
Chandler all by himself, and a couple of shakes of the head around the perimeter. I think a couple of Cats wanted to see him swing that. Almonor in the corner.
And he probably should have, especially, look, when you're going against zone pressure, whether it's full court, 3-quarter, even pick up half court, that ball's got to move. You're going to have open guys all over the place, so especially in transition.
They go backdoor to Brea. Caught it off a bobble and couldn't quite get the and one, but he'll go to the free throw line for 2.
I know I made a big deal about it, but Amari Williams being able to stand out there by the 3-point line, they set that up. Brea faked out towards the perimeter and immediately went backdoor. And for a big man of Amari's size to make that touch pass and hit Kobe as he streaked in, you don't see that too often.
Talked to some folks at Drexel about Amari Williams, and they said sometimes he would go through these stretches where it didn't seem like he was engaged in play. And I wonder, we haven't seen that here at Kentucky, and I wonder if that's because of that freedom of the bigs, if you will, with head coach Mark Pope being a little bit more involved offensively.
I think part of it could be that. I think also, one of the things that Kentucky fans really, because all these guys are new, we haven't really learned of the personalities off the court of these guys.
Hoover getting an extended run here. He's got 5 points off the Jackson State bench. Samuel second unit now in for Jackson State. Hoover, 10 to shoot. Got Williams in the air and just can't finish. Brea in transition, a three. Yes! One of the best three strokes you'll see is that one a bit long from Reyna. But Brea, 1 out of 2 tonight. Is that one blocked by Chandler, but maybe a little bit too much contact. That'll be a foul, and going to the line, Jackson State out of this timeout. But Kentucky has knocked down 10 threes, and they lead by 33. Very fitting the Cats have a lot of dunks here tonight when Kenny Skywalker is in the house here tonight, Cam.
Well, if you look at all of these, most of them are coming in transition, and if not in transition, then just one-on-one. There's not necessarily a lot of ball movement that's led. Maybe that first one by Andrew Carr. Everything else is just penetration. Jackson State not rotating over, and there's that final one with that great no-look by Amari Williams to Jackson Robinson.
Oh, great stat from the control room. Kentucky had 13 dunks on the year. They've got 9 tonight. I was just mentioning 0 in the Bucknell game. Not too many against Lipscomb, but they are getting to the rim and finishing here this evening.
You know, and they're finishing. These aren't just barely going in. I mean, these guys. I go back to Oweh. I mean, driving down the lane, I expect him to go for a layup, but he explodes, goes for a two-handed slam. We saw Lamont Butler do it as two. Of course, we know he can do it from the dunk contest at Madness that they had here, where there was only 2 contestants in the dunk contest.
Free throws coming for Dylan Canaville, the junior from Plantation, Florida, who head coach Mark Pope, despite him only being 6'5", said probably their best offensive rebounder, and he was excited to see how Kentucky would box him out on the defensive end for the Cats. And some extra interest in this free throw.
I believe there might be a chicken sandwich on the line here.
I believe has been one, not for you or I.
If a chicken sandwich doesn't get you up excited about a college basketball game, I don't know what will.
Almonor can't hit it in transition.
It was a great job by Almonor to sprint back on D that time because Jackson State had a run out.
Reyna around the screen, a hard screen from Hoover.
That's where it's got to be called out. That's got to be constant communication coming from the Kentucky Wildcats about where those screens are coming from.
Oh, what D by Amari Williams on the smaller guard, and I mean smaller, much smaller. Reyna listed at 6'3". Amari Williams at 7 feet 260 and guarded him and knocked the ball out with 8 to shoot.
Imagine having somebody like Amari Williams with those quick hands, and then you got Lamont Butler with those quick hands. You got Carr with those quick hands.
Kriisa running the point right now for the Cats in place of Butler. Reyna, good D by Kriisa, cleaned up by Williams. Chandler tried to get it to Almonor down low, and it was intercepted. Good batted ball there.
Maybe a little freshman mistake by Colin, just trying to force something in that wasn't quite there yet.
Jump step getting to the rim and getting a foul as Canaville can't finish it, but he'll go to the line for 2 free throws.
The reality is, if you're Kentucky, you'd rather have a freshman mistake like that, especially if it's coming out of unselfishness. You'll live with those mistakes.
Well, even if it's chicken or no chicken, this crowd has been engaged tonight. And looking around, got to be close to a sellout, if not a sellout, which is pretty impressive considering a Friday in November. You got a lot of high school football, basketball starting up, and it's going to be around 21,000 or so in the building here tonight.
And I think a lot of that credit goes to Coach Pope, his staff, and these players because they have made these games fun.
Yeah, these are must-see, whether in person or nonetheless. As in transition on a steal. And a good job by Chandler to get in the lane there. He was kind of defending 2 men in the corner, and he was able to pop that one out of bounds.
One of those little things, those deflections that Coach Pope talks about. It didn't lead to a turnover, but it did stop transition for Jackson State. And if that hand doesn't get that ball and he knock it out of bounds, that's probably an open 3 from the corner.
Cats have averaged 100 points per game in games at Rupp Arena. As Amari Williams, a nasty block of Cannaville.
Came into Kentucky, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in his conference, maybe 3.
Three-time Colonial Athletic Association Defensive Player of the Year. That was his second block. 7 total for the Cats. And they nearly had an 8th. Kobe Brea was ready.
Great anticipation by Kobe that time.
Reyna has to beat the shot clock. He does, but can't make it. Amari Williams the rebound. Chandler on a good feed from Butler. In.
Easiest threes that'll come all day, those transition ones.
5th assist. Make that 4th assist for Lamont Butler. Is that one off the mark? Chandler another board. Chandler getting an extended run here with the second unit. Jump stop, kicks it out. They swing it around to Brea. That patented ball fake. Here it is. Yes!
Kobe Brea 2 of 3 from the three-point line tonight. Still not up to his three-point average.
I was going to say, it's going to drop his three-point average. 3 is long. Butler the rebound. He's 79% coming in. Chandler, extra pass. Here it is. Left short. Butler will chip it out. Brea using that big body to secure the rebound. He'll step into a 3 now. In and out. No good.
Both teams getting a little sloppy here in the last few minutes.
And a dunk left open for Cannaville, and a timeout from Mo Williams. And a great job by the guy wiping up the sweat on the other end to get off the floor on that quick switch around. That could have been disastrous, but nonetheless. 81-44 our score. 9 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Lamont Butler, the latest to join double figures, as is Kobe Brea. They each have 11, as Kentucky enjoying a 37-point lead here inside Rupp Arena.
Favorite Thanksgiving food is mac and cheese.
It's macaroni and cheese.
And mac and cheese, and only for one person, and that's my mama. My mama make the best.
Nobody makes it like my mother.
She put love in it.
My mom's pumpkin roll, it's delicious. Shout out to my mom.
My mom's green bean casserole. Mwah!
My mom's stuffing.
My mom is an amazing cook.
Everything made by my mother.
It had to be made by my mom.
My mama make the best Thanksgiving food, and it's, she better bring it to the Bahamas, because that's what Thanksgiving gonna be this year.
I'll go to the Bahamas as Kentucky 81-44 leaders. We look at what we picked. Brussels sprouts.
I was getting ready to make fun of Mark Pope's green bean casserole. And I never heard anyone mention that for Thanksgiving. But then, I have to look at my Brussels sprouts sitting there.
How is gravy? Just gravy
just
on its own?
Just gravy, baby.
What, are you just drinking it? Just drinking it out of the ladle?
Well, it comes in jars.
You're disgusting. Come on, Butler. Brings it across half court. Little alley-oop for Carr. He's fouled.
I don't even know that. Did anybody in that montage, or even us, was Turkey mentioned at all?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's like
it's ubiquitous. Oh, it's ubiquitous. That Turkey. Everybody just assumes it's there, and everything else dresses it up.
Oh, the weather we've been having up until the last couple of days, you could really fire up the grill as Garrison. Oh, a jam inside the paint for Garrison. All about the feed there, wasn't it, Cam?
Exactly. Andrew Carr with a great pass away from the defense. So as Brandon Garrison turned, there was nobody there. His defender had gone for the steal. He's wide open and went for the one-handed slam.
Wing 3 is long. Butler the rebound, and Coach Mo Williams getting some of that second unit, a longer look with an opportunity to play inside Rupp in front of a top 10 team in the country.
Looked like Jackson State was sitting back in a 2-3 zone that time.
Down the lane, unable to work his way in as Williams, but he does fight his way back out. Now we'll try baseline, and he dribbles on the line, out of bounds, back to Kentucky. But there's the pass from Carr, perfectly placed, and then the finish by the Oklahoma State transfer.
Just the importance of knowing where you are on the court, where you catch the ball. Andrew Carr set him up perfectly, hit him right where he wanted to. All he had to do was turn, realize that there was nobody there, and dunk.
Ball thrown away by the Cats. Little miscommunication there. 8:01 left in the second half. Kentucky up by 39.
This is really one of the hardest things to do, and I know it sounds silly to say, but you're in a blowout game. You've got your starters still in the game, and look, they're still trying to get things done. Coach Pope is trying to work on things regardless of score. It's easy to kind of lose your focus and let the game get a little bit sloppy, and I think we've seen that from both squads at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be thrilled with that 9 turnover number.
If it stays under 10, he might be, but if it gets over, that's kind of the goal. Keep it under 10.
There's a foul underneath. Is working hard as Cannaville. 83-44 our score. This team competitive on and off the floor. Cannot wait to show you this Butler v. Chandler showdown.
Like almost everything is a competition. You know, everything was a competition. I always wanted to win things.
You can turn anything into a competition, which we do. It's like making
hands a little shaky.
Yeah, hands are shaky.
For sure. Yeah.
Done.
Damn. Jeez. I'm right there.
Butler tonight hasn't solved a Rubik's Cube out in the court, although I haven't had my eyes on him the whole time, so maybe he's been on the bench. But he's got 11 points, and he's stuffing the stat sheet as well. 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Colin Chandler, season high and Kentucky high, 6 points. Has been getting an extended run when the second unit has been in. He's got 10 minutes played, which is on track to be a season high for him. But these guys just want to win whatever it is. And that's one reason why Mark Pope wanted to get Lamont Butler to Lexington. I mean, you talk to everybody about practice coming into the season. I heard from 3 different guys that they were excited about playing somebody else because they were tired of being guarded by Lamont Butler.
I said this, I think, the first game I called. He is an absolute nuisance defensively, and the only Kentucky player that's got permission from the coaching staff to, at any point, pick up defensively full court, all 95, 94 feet. And he will just get in your face. And even if it doesn't get the steal, just make it difficult for you to initiate your offense. By the way, I'm sure there's some science to that Rubik's Cube stuff, but until someone explains it to me, it's just magic.
I would try to explain it to you.
Gracious.
I just get a headache if I did. Carr, they beat this press. That exact press was worked on at shoot-around this morning by Jackson State. Trying to get some action at half court, and if they don't get it, they go back into their regular set. Is Brea open for 3? Yes!
I believe Brea's almost sitting at his three-point percentage at this point, for the game at least.
3 out of 5, so
a little bit less.
Lower.
He could do better.
78%. There's a lob, and guess who? Lamont Butler ready for it.
Got it.
With a quiet 14. Didn't realize he had 14.
Those threes add up quick, but again,
but
a fantastic pass by Brandon Garrison. And picks it up, looks opposite in that corner, finds a teammate wide open. Oh, and the teammate.
That's the beautiful thing about this offense, isn't it, Cam? That you see so many of these threes, it's a pass that starts it. It's not just a guy pulling up.
I go back to something I said earlier. It's that the pop rule that Coach Pope has for his team. When that ball starts moving.
Kentucky thought that ball took a deflection on the way out, but the referees say it's Jackson State ball.
Well,
anyway.
But that pop rule basically where when that ball is passed to you, you've got 0.5 seconds to do something with it. Pass it, shoot it, move it, dribble it, but you got 0.5 seconds. They want to move that ball quickly because that keeps defenses honest and can wear them out, as I believe we saw in the Duke game.
Brea, another 3 on the way. Little off to the right. He shook his finger as soon as it left his hand. He knew. And the best shooters do, don't they?
Yeah, most shooters can. The moment they feel it roll off that last fingertip, they've got a good idea whether or not it's going in.
Butler another steal. See if he pushes the ball. They got Oweh in transition, challenging the 6'11", 290 Shannon Grant, who fouls him on the way to the rim.
Well, you get the picture that there's not really anyone on this Kentucky team that would even shrink back from challenging anybody, not just on just the Jackson State team, but any team. And these are upperclassmen that Kentucky has now. Very, very different from the last few years. Colin Chandler's a freshman. Garrison, the sophomore. Just about everybody else is in their 4th or 5th year of college basketball.
The Cats may be breaking their run. They have started the year with 4 straight games of having a different leading scorer. That's obviously going to end at some point. It appears to be game number 5 for Kentucky as Oweh has 17 points, make it 18, and now 19 to lead the way for the Cats so far tonight.
And 8 of 12 from the field, but only 1 of 4 from the three-point line. So Oweh's getting it done those various other ways besides sticking around outside the three-point line.
There's a little bit of a cheer from the crowd you might have heard. That's the reigning Mr. Basketball from Kentucky, Travis Perry, the freshman getting ready to check in. And he will do so at this dead ball as a turnaround jumper from Mitchell is no good. Otega Oweh led the Cats in the season opener against Wright State. A very fitting 41-point win. He had 21 of the 103 that night for Kentucky. Then Kobe Brea went off against Bucknell. Andrew Carr, that steady presence, Cam, against Duke. And then the coming out party, at least in a Kentucky uniform, for Jackson Robinson as the crowd roars for Mr. Basketball last year, Travis Perry checking in.
Might as well give a standing ovation to a young freshman coming in who scored, what, 6,000 points in high school?
I got the exact number. It was 5,381.
I was only off 700. But
the all-time leading scorer in Kentucky history, top 10 nationally in high school scoring history, as Garrison keeps possession for Kentucky. Looking for Brea. Brea finds Garrison. Wanting to hit a backdoor cutting Perry, but he's covered up. 8 to shoot. Around a screen, Brea, he'll let it fly from 3. Yes!
He sets himself, he squares himself. There might every so often be that slight fade backwards, but everything is consistent with the three-point shot by Kobe Brea.
91-49 as Brea now with 17. Coming up on 5 to play here in the ball game. Kentucky looking to hit triple digits for the 3rd time here at Rupp Arena. As that one poked away by Garrison. Oweh out ahead to Brea. Brea the jam. Brea's got 19. Kick started there by Garrison, who got the steal.
Kentucky now up to 36 three-point shots in this game, hitting 38.9%.
Mansell wide of the mark. Perry trying to run it down. Mansell gets his miss. Finds Mitchell for 3. Off the glass and in.
It'll count one way or the other.
Just the 3rd 3 for Jackson State tonight. They're 3 of 19. Cats, meanwhile, are 14 of 36. Garrison will pull up just inside the paint off the front of the rim. Mitchell wants another. Yes, Mitchell starting to heat up. He's got 7. Travis Perry got his first basket in a Kentucky uniform against Lipscomb. Brea thought about that 3. Now he'll shoot it. Why not? Why not? Kobe Brea, 22 points.
Took a worse 3 the second time than I believe he had the first time. Still drained it. I believe at this point he might be up to his percentage.
He's getting close.
Not quite there yet?
Not quite.
Got to get my calculator out here and figure this out.
Not quite. Off the glass and in on a good finish on the back down by Watson. Watson with 10, entering double figures for Jackson State. Andrew Carr working on Mansell. That's been a fun matchup tonight on both ends of the floor. It's been one of the few regular matchups actually tonight. As Oweh, oh man, like he's shot out of a cannon into the restricted area, runs over the much larger Shannon Grant, and he'll go to the line when we come back. 2:55 to play. Kobe Brea going off. He's the #1 three-point shooter for a reason. Oh, and he's getting it done at the rim too. Shout out to Trevor in the control room getting this highlight package done so quickly. Kobe Brea is putting up highlights faster than we can put them together, Cam.
Shooting, what, 78, 79%, leading the country in three-point shooting, doing more than just getting threes up, but tonight, 5 of 8. That brings his total on the year to 20 of 27 for 74% from the three-point line through now 5 games.
I mean, it's absurd. And, we heard Bucknell, they called it a layup.
Have you seen him force one either?
No.
Every shot just looks like it's coming in the motion of the offense, and it's exactly what Coach Pope wants.
Honestly, the closest one, at least from the last couple of games, might have been the one that he just hit in the corner.
Yeah, I honestly think it is, because he looked more open when he first had the ball, passed it up, but then immediately took that shot in the corner when it looked like he was a little more contested. But either way, it didn't matter, still drained it.
Kentucky trying to continue this stretch. It's the best start in school, for Big Blue since 2016-17 season. That year's Cats started 7-0, ended the year in the Elite Eight. Actually did their first round tournament game that year. That was a fun team. Bam Adebayo. De'Aaron Fox is Oweh to the free throw line, made 1 to get to the 20 plateau. He'll go for 21, which will tie a season high for Otega Oweh, and he'll get a well-deserved round of applause as he exits probably for the final time tonight. And coming into the game is Trent Noah, the Harlan, Kentucky native. Put up a bunch of points in high school like his fellow Kentuckian. That one finished off that rebound by Garrison. So both Travis Perry and Trent Noah into the game, and I do got to apologize to the fine folks of Eddyville, Kentucky, and their native son bangs it in for 3.
Smart play by Travis Perry, pump fake, got by the man, but realized, hey, I got to open 3, pulled it right back, got behind that three-point line and drained it.
And Perry helps save that ball after a great block from Garrison. But look at this ball fake and then a little step back from Perry, knocking it down. His first triple in the blue and white.
Not just that pump fake and step back, but he did it quick as well.
But I had mispronounced his hometown the other night. Eddyville, Kentucky there.
Eddyville.
Lovely part of the state.
Lyon County, I believe.
Led them to a state title in this very building not too long ago. Last March? You did those games, right?
Yes, that's right. He and Trent Noah both in the state championship game. I think Trent Noah wound up setting the all-time three-point shooting, or three-pointers made in a KHSAA Sweet 16.
Quick look at Kentucky's upcoming schedule. Speaking of in-state rivals, Western Kentucky. Not exactly a rival, but nonetheless, our friends from Bowling Green will be up in Lexington on Tuesday, and then Friday, right after Thanksgiving, Georgia State. And then a bit of a unique week, Cam. I want to get your take on this. Kentucky plays Clemson in the ACC-SEC Challenge. They're tipping off in the Eastern time zone at 9:30. And then they have technically 4 days off, but they got to go all the way out to Seattle to take on number 3 Gonzaga. So a bit of a taxing week for the Cats.
Well, but I think a good idea, whether it was intentional or unintentional by Mark Pope. Obviously, the Gonzaga game has been on the schedule for a few years now. But just that, again, when you get to NCAA tournament, you're going to have odd games, or games beginning at odd times, and you're going to have to fly out to the West Coast occasionally. You get put in certain regions, fair or unfair. So you just got to kind of, and this is Mark Pope's thing, embrace adversity. He preaches it, he talks about it all the time. He wants his team to face it because he knows they're going to face it in the tournament, and that's when he wants them at their best.
See if Trent Noah can get his first Kentucky basket. Here he is for 3. Yes, with Trent Noah. Harlan's own in the book for the Cats.
One of the most interesting things about this Kentucky team is, though they're freshmen, the reality is probably that the two best three-point shooters on this team are Trent Noah and Travis Perry. They may not have the physical stature that they're going to have in the next few years at Kentucky, the experience that they're going to have, but they've already got that shooting down, and I think over the next few years we're going to see them hit quite a few more of those three-point shots.
Good to see Walker Horn walk on coming into the game. His dad, Darren Horn, head coach at Northern Kentucky University, and speaking of Western, made his name in the coaching ranks, leading them to the tournament. As here's a breakaway. It's going to be Perry. Perry, a layup, no good. Chandler following, but I don't think it's going to count. Looked like Perry got fouled And Travis will go to the line for 2.
Definitely got fouled, but Colin there again.
Like a trampoline in his shoes.
He really does. Going back to the Big Blue Madness, the quote-unquote dunk contest that was had. They apparently had whittled it down to the 2 finalists during Madness, and it was the 2 shortest guys on the team. And Colin Chandler and Lamont Butler.
Perry now with a new career high. He's got 4 points. His fellow Kentuckian also getting his first field goal in a Kentucky uniform tonight. Perry got that out of the way in the Cats' last game on Tuesday against Lipscomb.
You know, the funny thing, the way the offense works is you're not even thinking about that if you're a Kentucky player. I mean, you got so much to think about of where you have to be, moving that ball. You're just getting shots up if shots come to you, so you're not even worried about getting your first basket, your first three-pointer, your first free throw, what have you.
And Noah looks over to the bench to say, do we want to run something here, or do we want to try to just dribble this one out? The shot clock and game clock are virtually the same, and it looks like Kentucky will just dribble this one out.
I think so.
Or
maybe.
will they?
Maybe.
One more.
Maybe not.
Perry, he'll fire it up from 3, left it short. And the rebound taken in by Mansell. And he can't quite finish it in time, but the game is over.
I'm not sure anybody on the Kentucky squad knew exactly what the plan was there in the last few seconds.
Nonetheless, a dominating performance for head coach Mark Pope and Kentucky. 108-59 the final as the Cats hit 17 threes, but they were impressive at the rim tonight too, Cam.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't quite get where they wanted to get offensively, on the offensive rebounds. Again, Jackson State, this is a problem that Coach Pope has been preaching and preaching. Jackson State comes in, and though Kentucky wins the battle of the boards by 1, Jackson State gets 13 offensive rebounds to only 4 for Kentucky.
Kentucky with 108. That's the 3rd time already this year they've cracked triple digits here at home. They came into tonight averaging 100 a game at home. The lone outlier in that total right now coming in is that 72 total against Duke, and you might imagine why. That was a slugfest there in Atlanta. But nonetheless, you got to love what you're seeing from the offense overall. And I know Mark Pope wanted to see what the rebounding was going to look like tonight. The Cats finished with a +1, but he was certainly right about this being a very good rebounding team. The final score may not indicate it, but I thought Jackson State showed themselves very well here tonight in certain stretches.
Again, it was a confusing game to kind of watch, where as you and I sat here watching it, Jackson State would seem to be, if you just looked at the way the game was being played, you would assume, all right, this is a back-and-forth game, close game, maybe at the most a 10-point lead for Kentucky. And it almost was never that close. Maybe that was the three-point shots. Maybe that was just, the multiple dunks and transition points they got. But again, not to belabor the point, but getting out-rebounded by this Jackson State team is going to be not problematic tonight, obviously, but problematic as Kentucky goes forward. That's something they have to be very mindful of. Coach Pope has been preaching and preaching and preaching, because that's about, hey, you got to go want to get the ball, and that's what he needs. All 13, 14 of these guys that are going to be in the game and get playing time, they've all got to have that same attitude towards offensive rebounding.
Kobe Brea finishes with 22 points tonight to lead the Cats, and it was an insane second-half run, but the Cats at the rim tonight, they had 13 dunks all year coming into the ballgame. They had 9 this evening inside Rupp, and that had the 20,000-plus here tonight on their feet.
Kentucky showing that they're not just a three-point shooting team. They are what appears to be so far this season, young as it is, they are a team that gets it done all over the court.
Kobe Brea in the second half, a big second half. Oweh just got beaten out for that leading score title. He finishes with 21. Brea had 22, but Oweh only did it in 20 minutes exactly on the dot. And he is standing by with us now. And Oweh, yet another, the beat rolls on for you. You've been in double figures in all 5 games now for Kentucky. It just seems like that consistency on both ends of the floor have been there for you so far this year.
Yes, sir. Just trying to play the game the right way and just play hard. I feel like the ball finds good energy, and when you give good energy on both sides of the ball, I feel like everything else falls into place. So that's kind of it.
What's your pregame routine? Yeah, I mean, you all have one as a team, but what is yours? Because I don't know that we've had a game with you so far that's been, well, let's say, take it as inconsistent tonight. You've been fairly consistent just about every game. So what is it about you that gets out there on the court and gets it done?
You know, I go home after, you know, we have our shoot-arounds, you know, just like to be in my own space, get off my feet a little bit, after I walk my dog, of course. But,
of course.
You know, I just try and just stay off my feet, get in the mode. Coach Pope tries to keep our energy low up until the game, but, you know, it's game day. It's hard to fight those feelings. So, you know, I just try and lock in once I get to the crib after shoot-around.
He was talking the other day about managing your all's load, and I assume that's what you're referring to. So how does someone with so much energy, again, the deflections, the steals, the turnovers, the dunks, the threes, everything you get done, how do you manage your load?
That's kind of how I always played. I know that's what I bring to this team. So, you know, I just always try and bring it every night. I can't just take a day off because that's going to affect or impact the team in a negative way. So I just try and give it my all every time I step onto the court because that's what I bring.
It seemed like tonight you were not really afraid of anyone down low. You tried to dunk on a guy that's listed at 6'11", 290, but overall a dunk party. Had to be a lot of fun out there for you on the floor.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of my game. I'm a dog. I like banging bodies down there. I say that's kind of how I grew up. I got 2 big brothers, you feel me? So I'm kind of used to it.
If I tried to dunk on a guy that was 290, they'd put me in the hospital. So, Ortega, thank you so much for your time. Big congrats, and yet another win for these Cats. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Kentucky moves to 5-0. Ortega Oweh, the leading scorer for Kentucky on a second occasion this year. 21 tonight. Actually, Kobe Brea, leading scorer for the Cats on a second occasion this year. He finishes with 22. Kentucky shoots 58% from the floor en route to a big victory. They're off to their best start since 2016-17. For Cameron Mills and her outstanding crew, I'm Andrew Kappas saying so long here from Lexington.